not joking. All my guys, them know me.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa Oti, and if you're new on this channel, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and click the bell so that whenever I post new content, you will be the very first to find out. So when stories like this come to me via Instagram DM, most especially, or email, when people come to me with this kind of stories or complaints seeking for advice, even though I am not an immigration lawyer, and I do state it in my description box that I am not an immigration lawyer. You guys, this particular video does not come in any way as bad news. I know a lot of people don't like things like this, discourage people, blah blah blah, but guys, these are things that are really happening. If it is not happening in the UK, we will not talk about it. Okay, let me speak for myself. If it is not happening in the UK, I will not talk about it, basically, because I know most people that watch me, they take my word for it. I definitely will not want to let them down. So you guys, what is happening right now is that Home Office is massively revoking COS. I know I've said something like this, maybe I've touched it here and there in the quest of making a video, but this time around we are going to be talking about it in depth. The reason why visa sponsorship is being revoked, the reason why people are going back to their home country. Some people don't even go back to their home country, they just stick around illegally. Do you know what it means to go back to your home country empty-handed? I'm not talking about deportation, because in this situation you're not deported, right? In this situation you do not have any legal right to live in the UK, and most times they don't want to go back. Just like the set of people that I talked about in one of my videos, they didn't want to go back. Instead, they got someone that was giving them shifts in a care home. At the end of the day, some of them ended up being deported. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about the reason why lots and lots of companies are losing their COS, and what could possibly happen if they lose their COS. Now, guys, let's start with the one that affects you. Now, companies can lose their license when Home Office believes that that particular company is no longer meeting its obligation and duties as a license holder. Take for instance, now we all know what's currently going on right now. Like, I'm not even going to mince words. There are so many people out there overseas, even in the UK, that deserve to get these jobs. Like, they've done the right thing, they have their driving license, their health is smashed, they have resounding experience, their skills, their certifications, every single thing is intact, but they have been applying for years now and they are not even getting any positive news. Unfortunately. Like I told you guys, I know what it's like to get unfortunately, and I know what it's like to apply for the job and not get it. I have someone that has been through that entire process, so I'm not even going to come out here and sound insensitive or someone that does not know what it feels like. I know it absolutely. Now, some of these companies, they charge ridiculous amounts of money. At first, it started with 5,000. I remember categorically telling one of my friends that it is not possible for any company to charge you money. I was boasting, like, guys, I was boasting. This was like 2 years ago. She was like, it's true, they charged me 2,500. I said, babe, it is illegal, run. If any company comes and tells you need to pay so amount, it is scam. Honestly, that was how confident I was about the whole system, until it became really glaring that it is happening. This is actually a thing. In fact, that is what is happening as of today. You coming into the UK as a healthcare assistant and there is no shift waiting for you. How are you going to pay your bills? So a company can lose their license if they fail to meet the required criteria or relevant requirements of the license that you're currently holding. I know that one does not really concern us so much. Now let's go to number 2. Number 2 is where there is evidence of a serious or systematic breach of sponsor's duties. For instance, this particular example that I just gave is a capital example of breaching your sponsor duties, because you should not charge for COS. It is very much illegal to charge for COS. Okay, now let's not even talk about the part that is illegal. It is illegal, right? Good and fine. Then why would these people pay you ridiculous amounts of money and then they come into the UK and you do not have any shift for them? You know that clients are limited lately. For instance, those days, I say it a lot. I was even telling my sister the other day, I remember those days when I was pregnant and I lost my first job. I didn't want to work any corporate job. I just wanted to be making money. I wanted to be able to get the maternity allowance. You know, there are lots of things that you need to meet. I started working as an agency carer. That was like in 2019, right? You guys, I remember then, if you mistakenly call in sick, like let's say you have your shifts booked for 3 days in a row. You know, being I was pregnant those days, sometimes I don't just want, I'm not in the mood to work at all, right? If I mistakenly call in sick, these people won't nearly want to like come to my house to beg me. Like that's the last thing that will be left for them to do, to come to my house and kneel down and beg me, because there's nobody to cover up that shift. They will beg you, like they will beg you. In fact, those days, if your CV is on Indeed, they'll be calling you randomly. Are you looking for a job? Are you looking for a job? Yes, it was like that in 2019. Who wants to work as a domiciliary carer? This domiciliary carer that lots of people are carrying on their head now as one big deal. Who wants to do who even wants to do it? That was why then they used to pay for mileage. Dom carers, they pay them higher, they pay for their mileage. They do a lot of things, a lot of perks, right, to make you come and work with them. Who wants to go from home to home? At the end of the day, your 12 hours will be 6 hours. Nobody, at the time, nobody wants to do that. And lots of people were not even like interested in this care of a thing. Only it was more of students and dependents that were limited that were actually doing it. Do you understand? So it wasn't like a thing then like this now. Now it's such a big deal. In fact, then if you're looking at working as a carer, it takes a lot for you to chest it and say, oh, I'm a healthcare assistant, oh, I'm a support worker. But now, because it is so scarce, people can probably tell you, I'm a care assistant, and you even be wishing to be in that person's shoes. That's how bad things are. Now, not to derail from the focus of today's video, what I'm trying to say right now is that if there is a breach of an employer's sponsored duties, their license could be suspended, or they might even lose it totally. Another reason why an employer could lose their sponsored license is where you are deemed to pose a threat to immigration control. Well, that's not really like our personal business. Now, guys, and I want to read this loud and clear from the site. Where you have been convicted of a relevant immigration or a serious criminal offense, or have been issued with a specified civil penalty for illegally employing migrant workers. So for illegally employing overseas care assistants, overseas workers, overseas carers, that employer stands a huge chance of losing their license. For instance, let's say an employer employs like 5 people, for instance, illegally. Most times that's what they do. Most times they are not even qualified. They can't prove it. They come to the UK. And unfortunately for them, no job. And just one after the 5 is brave enough. Most times, people are not brave enough to do the right thing. Just one is brave enough to report that employer. Let's say the person is actually from a rich home in Nigeria, and the person doesn't want to come here and suffer. And they're like, why am I suffering here? What's the point? Please, I'm going back to Nigeria. I'm going back to my father's business. Because most times people fail to report because they don't want to go back. Most people, they sell their properties to be able to raise this amount of money. They sell their cars. Some even have good jobs. They quit their jobs. They move because in their words, it's a good move, right? And I'm not even blaming them. Let's say just one out of that 5 decides to report this employer to Home Office. Police is the first point of contact to the police, or even to a union, for instance, with evidence, because most times these employers, they are so smart. Most times there is usually no evidence, as in no freaking evidence to show that you paid money, no interview or nothing. Everywhere is usually so clean. Let's say somehow this person outsmarts this employer, and this employer loses his or her sponsored, his or her license. All of you, like the 5 of you, are going down together. I think you have 60 days to enable you to get a job. I think it's 60 days. I'm not quite sure, but when I checked gov.uk, it states 60 days. I might be wrong. If I am wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comment section. Now, such an employer will not lose their license if they check and retain evidence that overseas workers that wish to recruit have the necessary skills, qualifications, and accreditations to perform their job. 2, if they assign COS only to workers in eligible roles. 3, if they report to Home Office if sponsored workers are failing to comply with the conditions of their visa. And also if they keep records of employees' attendance. So in this situation, if they have these full records, then they are free. Their COS will not be revoked, but most times they really don't. That's the truth, because you're not giving shift to this employee. So how would you be able to prove that this employee has been working? Like how? Do you get the point, guys? So in a nutshell, I know I've said this like a lot and a lot and a lot and a lot of times. In fact, since I posted that video with my sister, my email has not rested. And frankly, my email is for brands to reach me, not really for me to start giving out personal information, for me to guide someone, for me to vet CV. I unfortunately don't have the leisure of time to do that. I know there are some people that if you book one-to-one session with them and pay, they will do all those things. So I think it's just best to do that. I really do not have the leisure of time. I bought out my time to do all that for my sister because she's my sister and she needed it. So it's really hard right now for me. Unfortunately, it is really, really hard. And some people are saying they even come to me and say, Melissa, I am willing to pay. I am willing to pay. I'm like, I don't even give out these jobs. I don't even know anybody that accepts money to start with. So I'm willing to pay. Sometimes I'm like, what do these people really want me to do at this point? In my own words, do not pay. Do not pay anyone. Do not pay anyone for a job. It is wrong. In fact, it is illegal. It is morally wrong. It is all shades of wrong. Like, I can't even justify it for any reason. Because what happens after selling all your properties? You leave your job, you move here to the UK, you come here, no shift for you. Somehow your employer loses their license. What happens to you? Like, what happens to you? So, or if you're in this situation already, I will advise you join a union. A union will most likely help you. And at the same time, there's a union called Unison. I've talked about Unison in the past. I don't think I want to go over it again. You can go Google Unison. It's a union which you can join. They will help you, but I don't know how far they're going to help you. And knowing the way you came to the UK, so you need to check very well and be sure it's something you really want to do. But to be fair, if you're already in this situation, my advice is if you can gather some money and do NVQ level 2, NHS do organize open days from time to time. If you have NVQ level 2, you stand a huge chance of getting a job. So you can just do your NVQ level 2, go for their open days. Don't limit yourself to the NHS in your area. Always check, right? And an NHS trust in another town or city might be having an open day. Go with your certificate. I'm sure with your, especially NVQ, they love NVQ level 2 a lot. Then if you have a level 4, perfect, but at least a level 2 is okay. They're most likely going to like listen to you and see what they can do for you. So people, a word is enough for the wise. I know sometimes people come to my DM and say, Melissa, I've paid, I don't have a job, what do you advise? And I'm like, there's really not, I'm just a YouTuber. I'm not an immigration lawyer to even start with, or a solicitor, or, do you get the point? So my own is to dish out the information. What you do with the information we give out, it's left for you to know what to do with the information we dish out. But for me, do not pay. Do not pay. Yes, there are still companies that are recruiting international applicants. Yes, I know that Nigerians have been placed on the red list for a very long time. People have been coming to the UK to work. So don't worry about that. I think I've explained this red list before. So you guys, I hope this video is helpful. And please don't forget to give it a thumbs up if it is, and comment your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for watching, and of course I will see you all in my next one. Bye guys.